Welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for April 11th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to kick it off this week with Peter Panzerfaust number 3. We've got Wendy on the cover this week. We finally get to meet Wendy. I can't say enough of good things about this book. I really, really like it. I like the World War II take on Peter Pan. It works. He's got his group, the Lost Boys kind of thing, and then here's Wendy. They're introducing. They're just trying to get through the war. Great book. I think Curtis Weeb's a really great writer. Really, really enjoying it. Then we've got Saucer Country by Paul Cornell and Ryan Kelly from Vertigo. This is issue number 2. I liked that first issue. It kind of had the politics in New Mexico mixed with alien invasions. So I'm curious to see where the second issue is going to go. Looks kind of, the art's great. I really like that art quite a bit.
I may have mentioned it the first time, but I've heard it described as the West Wing meets X-Files.
That sounds about right so far.
So, if you like those shows, check it out.
Then we've got Avengers Assemble number 2.
Big Hulk.
It is a big giant Hulk cover. This is your book that's going to have the movie team.
Yeah.
They're trying to prime you up for that movie, which is getting to be less than a month away now.
Yeah.
So kind of exciting stuff. This does not seem like it's going to have anything to do with your Avengers versus X-Men.
No.
Or any of that sort of stuff. There's monsters.
It's set in
That's
the Marvel
cool.
universe, the regular Marvel universe, but it's doing its own thing primarily for people who are going to see the movie and want to come in and get Avengers comics and not be stuck in the middle of a crossover with the X-Men.
Right, and it's got a free digital copy inside in that one. Then we've got the New Avengers, which is an A versus X crossover. This more Scott and Cap fighting on the cover there. Looks like Wolverine's in the middle, so maybe they're going to finally approach that subject and start making the X-Men / Avengers choose a side.
The gauntlet was thrown last week.
Yep, so now we're going to start tying it in, and so here we've got, looks like they're still doing some of the same stuff that they were doing before, but now it's just going to tie into that battle. Then we have Secret Avengers, which does not seem to have anything to do with it yet. This is still doing the, whatever they were doing there. I'm a couple issues behind. Venom joined the team.
Venom is on the team now.
He joined the team about 2 issues ago.
Okay.
And it's been pretty hot as a result of people love what Remender's doing with the Venom character. And it's pretty cool. Kind of an interesting...
That's still Gabriel Hardman?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, great artist.
An Art Adams cover. His stuff is phenomenal. Then we've got an Image number 1 here. This is a mini-series, though, not an ongoing. America's Got Powers by Jonathan Ross and Brian Hitch. Brian Hitch, it's going to be great art. Yeah. And it is. This, if I recall, the solicitation is sort of a people get superpowers and it's kind of a reality show.
Yeah, it's American Idol, but with superheroes.
Okay.
So kind of a neat high concept.
Kind of interesting, and this looks again like it's they're pushing the limit of their pages. Looks like it goes right to the end, so it looks like you're getting more than 32.
Yeah, a lot
more than 20 story pages. So getting your money's worth. Check it out. The art looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's
Brian Hitch always delivers. And, this is another one of those, Image number 1s have been flying off the shelves lately and going into bulk printing. So if you want to get a first printing, make sure to get out and get it quick.
Then the Shade number 7. This is, as I've said before, your walk through the New 52 with the Shade as your sort of curator of the New 52. They've been doing different artists that we've been going along here. This is Javier Pulido. Okay. Looks good. Stuff looks real cool. People seem to be going back to this retro sort of style. Yeah. This, but I love it. Like it's somewhere in between 80s Frank Miller and 60s Jack Kirby.
Yeah, there's a lot of retro going on in comics these days. Are all these stories set in the present? Or are they set in the past?
They're set in the present. He's doing some flashbacks and things to things that went on before, so that you can catch up to the story that they're trying to tell now. It's been good though, and I've really rather enjoyed it. Then we've got Smoke and Mirrors number 2. I have since read that first issue. Really, really liked it. Kind of a strange sort of. He is a street magician, but he's a street magician in a world where magic is real.
Okay, interesting idea.
Spells and things are something that people are accustomed to. You'd copyright a spell. Once you use a spell, you can't. No one else could really do the same thing if it's sort of been copyrighted. But this guy is not using magic. He's using sleight of hand and the like. I'm curious to see where it's going, but I really like it so far. I think, Mike Costa is an interesting writer. He's done some good stuff. And I like Brian Brown's artwork. So, digging Smoke and Mirrors. Then we've got Thief of Thieves number 3 by Robert Kirkman and Nick Spencer. I like this book. I think it's pretty cool so far. Kind of a, it feels like a 70s heist movie.
Okay.
You know, I really like that. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, digging it. Check it out. If you haven't been reading Thief of Thieves, you should be. And that is the bulk of my stack. What do we got over there?
Well, I'm going to start off with Uncanny X-Men 10. Kieran Gillen, Carlos Pacheco. We got some great Carlos Pacheco artwork on this one. Avengers vs. X-Men hasn't hit this book yet either.
Okay.
So this is a separate story. This isn't happening as part of the crossover. This is dealing with some fallout from Gillen's run on the short-lived series Sword.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a breakout in the jails, the alien jails up in the Sword satellite. And one of the characters from that series that clearly was being set up in that series, but then it got canceled before he had a chance to do anything. So he's kind of bringing it in here. It's kind of a super intelligent alien robot that's taking on the X-Men, and looks like good stuff.
Didn't they also deal with, because there was some of the astonishing X-Men stuff, did they deal with that alien race, the Ord? Wasn't that what they were called?
Yeah, that popped up.
I'm starting to hear rumors and people are starting to speculate that that's that alien race in the Avengers movie.
Oh, interesting.
Joss Whedon is the director.
That's a good point.
And everyone's saying, who is that? And they're all like snickering like Muttley. Like they know something we don't. Maybe that's what it is.
That would make a lot of sense because Joss Whedon already did them once. Next up, Resurrection Man. I'm still enjoying this book. We're slowly getting a little bit of his backstory. There's a mystery to who he is and how he got this way. The character, every time he dies, he comes back with a new superpower, but he can't actually stay dead. Okay. So heaven and hell are both looking to claim his soul, but he won't die long enough for either one to get him.
Interesting.
He made a stop off at Gotham. I think similar to the Shade, he's kind of bouncing around the DC universe looking for his own answers to who he is, and he feels compelled to. He's drawn to places where there's conflicts that he's needed. They haven't explained why. He doesn't know either. He just knows he's kind of compelled to keep doing this. So he's searching for some answers. We're getting some answers slowly. This is definitely going to be set in the darker parts of the DC universe. Looks like we're going to be setting up for a Suicide Squad crossover. So they've already been Gotham City. I believe he was headed towards Metropolis, so I think he's going to be heading there as well.
DC's been doing more of that, with the crossovers and making their universe more cohesive,
a lot of crossovers and a lot of books like this, which are kind of fleshing out the universe that we get in the New 52. Next up, this is probably my favorite book. My favorite book being published right now. Big Fantastic Four fan. This is Fantastic Four 605, yet another Jonathan Hickman, this time with art by Ron Garney. And we wrapped up the big story that Hickman started. Hickman's on through, I think, at least October. So now he's got some smaller stories to tell, and he's also still got the stuff with Doom that was set up in FF.
Yes.
This, I believe, is actually set in the future, kind of looking back. And
interesting.
And, you know, because we've got time travelers, we've got adult Franklin Richards, who was on the cover here, I believe, who's basically looking back at possible futures of the Fantastic Four. I really like on the cover, they've got Reed Richards' tombstone, and his birth year is listed as 1961 when the Fantastic Four were created. But you know, I've read that first issue of the Fantastic Four, and he's an awful big newborn with graying temples. But yeah, this book just continues to be great. You know, the only thing that's kind of sad about it is that Hickman's leaving. Although it's going to make a nice big omnibus.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Next up, Matt Fraction on the Mighty Thor. You know, they wrapped up the Shattered Heroes thing with Thor being dead. Thor's back. He beat the troll. All of that is done. We got a fresh new start in time for Thor to hit the big screens. So we've got a .1 issue here that will get everybody caught up to where Thor is. We've got Barry Kitson on the artwork.
Artwork's nice.
This is obviously going to be a one and done if it's a .1 issue. And yeah, basically they're kind of getting Thor back to where he needs to be part of the Avengers movie and whatnot. Next up, Winter Soldier. I'm still having a lot of fun with this book.
Okay.
I'm
behind.
People
admittedly.
are talking about the all the stuff going on as far as it being an espionage book and a spy book. And it's an espionage book and a spy book, but it's an espionage book and a spy book that has a gorilla with a machine gun and a doom bot. So this is still some fun superhero stuff.
Wow.
But somehow Brubaker manages to take a gorilla with a machine gun and a doom bot and actually make them kind of dark and serious. But basically, the sleeper agents, like the Winter Soldier, a lot of the old Russian sleeper agents, are being activated by someone for nefarious purposes, I'm sure. Next up, Green Lantern number 8. We are finally going to get some lowdown on the Indigo Tribe in this storyline.
Cool.
We've got the return of the Black Hand, who the Indigo Tribe took with them at the end of Blackest Night.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been looking forward to this. I mean, this is the one group of lanterns that we haven't really gotten a lot of information on. So finally, we're gonna get the story of the Indigo Tribe. Next up, Green Lantern the Animated Series by Art Baltazar and Franco with Dario Brizuela on the artwork.
Oh yeah, Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, Green Lantern. Friends of the show. These guys are great.
Yes.
And this has been a really good cartoon.
I like it.
If you can get past the animation style, the CG animation has a lot of old people. Young kids don't seem to mind that at all.
Young kids like it because they're used to it.
Yeah.
Us cranky curmudgeons are the ones complaining.
But if you
fine.
can get past that, and I think the design is fantastic. It's just everything looks kind of like a toy, but that's because they've got Happy Meal toys in McDonald's right now. But in any event, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great new take on Green Lantern. Green Lantern and Kilowog are out at the edge of space. So it's not set in the places that Green Lantern in the comic books are normally set. It's really just the two of them trying to find some of the Green Lanterns on the frontier.
There's a Red Lantern in there.
There's a Red Lantern. In the animated series, the first of the Blue Lanterns has popped up.
Yep.
The Red Lanterns are the villains, actually.
I like seeing St. Walker in there.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And Mogo just showed up.
Yep.
So yeah, this has been a good cartoon. So I'm expecting the comic book to be just as good. Next up, Unwritten number 36. This is back to the main storyline, I believe. I don't know if this is going to be another one that is focusing on the side character. It looks like this may be another one focusing on the side characters. But again, this has been a great book. It's moving towards what looks like is the ending. We're getting a lot of backstory on some of the characters while set in the past, while Tommy is learning the truth about himself and the nature of the universe. We've been singing the praise of this book for a year. It's a great book. You should check it out. Next up, this was almost my top pick. We've got Secret from Jonathan Hickman. I know nothing about this book beyond it's Jonathan Hickman.
And it's a weird cover.
And it's
a weird image they've been promoting.
On the cover, it's Hickman. It's Image. I'll give it a shot.
And that's an ongoing, is it not?
I believe this is an ongoing.
I think Manhattan Projects is not, but that is.
But I've really liked, to varying degrees. I mean, Hickman's creator-owned stuff has all been solid. Some of it better than others. I was not as big a fan of like Red Mask for Mars.
He's a high concept guy though too, so he's got a lot going on. And I know some people have complained about some of the endings of some of his creator-owned stuff. I still think the stuff's great. Again, you're not really getting things like what he gives you from anybody else.
Right. Yeah, I mean he's probably the most unique voice in
for sure
mainstream comics, at least. And by mainstream, I'm expanding that to Image, Dark Horse, things like that. If you're going to get, he's one of the freakiest guys that's working on comics that people are actually buying. How about that?
Yes.
But great stuff, and so I almost my pick of the week beat it by just a hair, and I'll explain what that hair is when we get to it.
So. Yeah, that would have also been the one you picked, and my pick were my 3 top picks of the week. So my top pick of the week here is Saga number 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. That first issue sold out everywhere. Yeah. Really, really good stuff. The second printing is out this week as well of the first issue.
If you missed it, grab it. It's a great book.
Really good stuff. And the second issue is even better, I thought. That first issue does a great job of setting up, and it was like 40 pages of story, I believe. And then this one just kind of furthers that. You've got a brief little bit of narration of the child kind of telling you what's going on, narrating from the future. Hazel, but you're being told the story of Hazel's parents.
Yeah.
And just some really, really interesting sci-fi meets fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, I think the art is great. I think Fiona Staples is doing a great job. Brian K. Vaughan does a great job of pacing. Even with this issue, I feel like I got so much, and then at the end I was like, ooh, all right, what's going on there? All right, let's bring it. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Saga. Great, great book.
I actually I was not a big fan of Why the Last Man.
I don't know why not.
I started it. I got probably through. I got through like the first hardcover and halfway through the second hardcover and just trailed off. It wasn't bad, but it just never really grabbed me. The way that it has with many other people.
I loved it,
and I really liked Ex Machina. But I thought it ended kind of shaky. So there was a lot of hype for this book, a lot of people looking forward to it. I went into it kind of skeptical. I think part of me even wanted to not like it a little bit, just to be kind of a cranky curmudgeon about it with everybody singing its praises. And by the end of the book, I was just like, I was wrong. This was the best book I read that week. So it is. It's a fantastic book. My top pick, instead of being Secret, is instead Secret Service.
Lots of secrets this week.
A lot of secret. We got Secret Avengers, Secret Service, and just plain old Secret. This is a book by Mark Miller. It's an icon book. It's Mark Miller and Dave Gibbons. Now, I almost went with Secret because Hickman is a great writer, and I certainly like Hickman's writing more than Mark Miller's. But I went with Secret Service for a couple of reasons. One, even though I may have issue with some of the stuff that Miller does, I've really enjoyed most of his icon stuff. Nemesis I wasn't that thrilled with, but I really liked Superior a lot. I liked Super Crooks. I like...
Super Crooks was good.
Yeah, and I like Kick-Ass. So he's got... one of the problems with Hickman's stuff is you really got to focus and pay attention, and it's brainy stuff. Whereas Mark Miller, he knows how to just do stuff that's plain fun.
Yes.
And this book starts off with a bunch of guys who have kidnapped Mark Hamill. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but... things don't go so well for Luke Skywalker here, but I won't go any further than that. But that's not the thing that pushes it over the edge, even though that is pretty cool. The thing that pushes it over the edge is it's drawn by Dave Gibbons. Mark Miller has gotten some of the best artists in comics to work on this creator-owned stuff. He's got John Romita Jr., Lionel Francis Yu, who did Nemesis.
Super Crooks. He did Super Crooks as well.
And Steve McNiven, but here we've got the artist of Watchmen.
And I don't feel like I get enough Dave Gibbons.
No,
that's the thing. I don't get as much as I would want. So when you got it here, that's why it would have been my top pick.
Yeah,
solely on the strength of Dave Gibbons.
Dave Gibbons, we don't see enough of his work. I mean, Miller's stuff is solid, and I'm glad to see Dave Gibbons doing some creator-owned stuff.
Yeah.
So he's not going to have to worry about 20 years from now the book's still in print and he doesn't own it anymore.
Well, he still gets a check, but hopefully he won't have to worry about Mark Miller freaking out on him and telling him he's a jerk.
But this is good stuff. I love Dave Gibbons. Mark Miller always gives you at least a fun ride, and here we've got a fun ride that's really, really well drawn. So for that just sort of nudged it over Secret, because Ryan, what is his name? Bodenheim is a talented artist, but he didn't draw Watchmen.
No, he's not Dave Gibbons.
No, sorry. Maybe someday, but not right now. So yeah, Secret Service, that's my top.
Right on. I'd like to give one other little shout out here to the Severed hardcover came out this week. Yes. Beautiful looking hardcover. What I like about it is the no dust jacket. It's just printed right on the cover. Makes it look a little more sharp, I think. I like dust jackets, but they get in the way too. This just looks real pretty.
Gorgeous book.
And that is $24.99. If you missed Severed, you're probably going to want to pick this up. Even if you didn't miss any issues, you might want to pick this up.
I'm tempted, and I have all the issues just because it's a gorgeous book that'll look great on your shelf.
And those of you who are going to C2E2 this weekend, the creative team is going to be there. So, everybody, all three of them. So, check out Severed. I think you wanted to give a shout out to...
a couple of things. One, we mentioned that Saga number 2 is out and that the number 1 second printings are in, but also the Daredevil season 1. These season 1s are some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, they're a totally different look at the characters. There's been Fantastic Four and X-Men so far. Anthony Johnson has done some good stuff, and I don't really recognize the artist on that book. But if you're not that familiar with Daredevil, if you want a good start, this is a good place for it.
Right on. And with that, that is your Week in Geek.